Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on verbs. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. All right, so we see that. So scrolling down to verbs. So our chapter is verbs. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on today under the chapter of verbs, it's irregular past tense, and also we're going to go over simple, present, and future tense. That is our lessons for today under verbs. All right. So most of our verbs, right, they are regular in the past tense. They are regular. And we talk about verbs being regular. That means that we either only add ed or d to the end of that specific verb. That means that they follow a specific rule by saying, okay, either add ed to show the past tense form or add d to show the past tense form. That is the rule, right? So they follow a rule. But now, when it comes to the irregular past tense, right? Irregular past tense, they don't follow any rule, which means that the wording changes, but you're going to have to know the form of the words because it does not follow any rule. You are just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb and how it changes. For example, Louis did his homework, which means that our irregular past tense verb is did. And the did, right, is the irregular past tense form of do. You see how the word changes from do to did? That means it is an irregular past tense verb. No rules that we have to follow. You're just going to have to remember the form of the word. All right. And when it comes to the past tense, the present tense, as well as the future tense, right? The present tense, it tells us about things that is happening right now. It's things that is happening now. And then we have our past tense. Past tense are things that happened already. They happened already. All right. So when it comes to the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense, the same thing applies to them where we have irregular past tense and we have regular past tense. All right. So now, if we look at verbs, right, especially when we look at, sorry, irregular past tense verb, we said that there's no rule that one needs to follow when it comes to the irregular past tense forms. The wording changes. All right. So now we're going to a+students.ca, where we are going to look at irregular past tense and we're going to look at the simple past and the present, simple present, past, and future. And once again, when it comes to the irregular past tense, right? All right. So we see that most of the verbs are regular in the past tense. And when the verb is regular, then it means that we need to follow a rule, either by saying we add ed or we say we add a d to that specific rule to show the tense. But now, when it comes to irregular past tense, right, then this means that we do not follow any rules. You are just going to have to remember the past tense form of that verb. All right. So now we're going to look at this example, not an example, like a little activity, and then we go to our test. It says we need to complete the sentence with a verb in the past tense. That says, are the blues singers skillfully? Hit, we need to change that word. Hit for. So as the blues singers skillfully hit the final notes, the audience rose to demand an encore. We need to choose the past tense form of the word hit. So it says, as the blues singers skillfully, and we're going to leave it as hit. So hit and hit is the same. The final notes, the audience rose to demand an encore. So hit is going to stay the same. Sorry. The next one says, after the American colonies declared their independence, 55 men, what is the past tense of the word undertake the difficult task of writing our country's constitution? Undertake. What is the past tense of the word undertake? Undertake. The past tense of undertake. And if we were to find the past tense of the word undertake, then we can say after the American colonies declared their independence, 55 men undertook the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. So we said undertook is the past tense form of the word to undertake. Undertook. And undertook is correct. The next one says when the actor fling his script at the floodlights and stomped off the stage, he was merely staying in character. Fling. What is the past tense form or the word of fling? All right. And we will say if we were to choose the past tense form of the word fling, then we say when the actor flung, which is the past tense of the word, his scripts at the floodlights and stomped off the stage, he was merely staying in character. All right. So now we're going to our test, and we need to choose the past tense form of the word. It says, it took determination and hard work, but Cole finally repaid his debts and started saving money for a house. Repay. What is the past tense form of repay? Is it option one, repaid, option two, to repay, or option three, repaids? So we say it took determination and hard work, but Cole finally repay his debt and started saving money for a house. Repay. What is the past tense of repay? Is it repaid, option one, to repay, option two, or repaids, option three? Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct option, we can say that finally, but Cole finally repaid, option one, all his debt. So well done. Words in the past tense. Who bring this delicious coconut cake? And if we were to choose the correct option, we say who bring this delicious coconut cake. And the past tense of bring is who brought this delicious coconut cake. So brought is the word in the past tense. All right. And we said after the American colonies declared their independence, 55 men undertook the difficult task of writing our country's constitution. All right. The next one says we need to complete the sentence with the verb in the past tense. We need to complete the sentence by choosing the correct past tense verb. All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, we'll say when the actor flung his scripts. And flung is correct. All right. So we say as additional housing developments were in, the local heron population shrink. And if we were to choose the past tense verb of that word, it says in as additional housing developments went in, the local heron population, do we say shrink? Do we say shrank? Do we say to shrink or shranks? All right. So now we're going to the next one, the next lesson that says we need a simple past, simple present, and simple future tense. And we said when it comes to future tense, right, verbs that tell you about something that is going to happen and will, we need to basically just add the word will to form the future tense. Basically for all of the verbs, just add will in front of that verb, and that basically shows the the specific tense which is in the future tense. right. We said when it comes to the tenses, right? Past tense shows the action that took place in the past. Present tense gives us the idea that something is happening right now. And in future tense, it shows us stuff that will happen, needs to still happen. So we need to complete the sentence with the future tense form of the verb. Future tense. Remember what future tense we add will in front of our verb. It says the next time Haley's comet approach. How are we going to show that that sentence is in the future tense? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, we will say that next time Halley's comet will approach. So will approach. All right, the next one says researchers estimate that up to 90% of the world's languages. We need to choose this word in the past tense. All right. So we say researchers estimate that up to 90% of the world's languages, do we say we need to show the future tense? The future tense. Do we say it will become or do we leave it as become? Do we say researchers estimated that up to 90% of the world's languages, do we say will become or become says the same? And if we were to choose the correct option, especially since we are writing it in the future tense, we say that with the future tense we add will in front of our verb. So we say will become. So researchers estimate that up to 90% of the world's languages will become extinct by the end of the 21st century. Will become. Right. So now we're going to our test. And yet says we need to complete the sentence with the future tense. We need to complete the sentence with the future tense, right? Remember with future tense, we said we add will in front of our verb. Next week, Tammy, do we say will attend option one, will attends option two, or attended option three, a conference on small business management in Greenville? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, we will say next week, Tammy will attend a conference on small business management in Greenland. Yes, so will attend is correct. Will is the word that we add in front of our verb to show the future tense. Did you know we need to choose the sentence with the present tense, present now? Did you know that a water molecule, do we say consists of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom? All right, we need to choose the present tense form and we say, did you know that a water molecule, do we say consists of two atoms and one oxygen atom? Do we say it consists, consisted, or will consist? And if we were to choose our correct answer, all right, and we will say it consists. Did you know that the water molecule consists of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom? We need to complete the sentence with the future tense form of the verb. Future will happen. All right, we need to select our future tense of the verb. It says researchers estimated that up to 90% of the world's languages become extinct by the end of the 21st century. Become, do we have to say will become? All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, especially using the future tense, we will say researchers estimated that up to 90% of the world's languages will become extinct by the end of 21st century. Will become. Because that shows the future tense. Will become. The next time Halley's comet approach Earth is 2061. And we say the next time Halley's comet, we will say will approach Earth is 2061. Comet is comet, not comet. Comet, sorry. In the United States, the average child watch, we need to say the present tense. Do we say watch television for nearly 1,500 minutes each week? Or do we say in the United States, the average child watch television? Do we say watches or watched television? This is now the present tense form. Do we say watches or watched? All right, and we will say in the United States, the average child watches television for nearly 1,500 minutes each week. Watches, right? So now we're going to form progressive verb tenses, right? Progressive verb tenses. And a progressive verb tense, it describes ongoing action, whether it is in the present, in the past, or in the future. Progressive verb tenses. Progressive verb tenses use words either is, was, will, be. Is, was, will, be. It shows that whether it is in the present tense is, in the past tense was, or in the future tense will be. Progressive verb tenses. So we now need to complete the sentence with the present progressive form of the verb tense. Present. It says the lawyers. Do we say amend the contract to show the construction of the opera house must be completed by April 1? Or do we say the lawyers are amending the contract to show that the construction of the opera house must be completed by April 1? And if we were to choose the correct option, we will say they are amending, because our helping verb are shows the which tense we are in. All right, let's look at this one. It says, my siblings and I. We need to show the present progressive tense. Do we say are memorizing, or we just say memorize the words of our grandmother's favorite poem, My Heart Leaps Up by William Wordsmith, so we can recite it during her 80th birthday celebration? And if we were to choose the correct option, we will say that my siblings and I are memorizing. We are memorizing. That shows the present tense. And the last one, and then we are done. It says, by the end of the film, which was a modern day adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, half the audience sobbed. Do we say was sobbing, or do we just say that they sob? Was sobbing, or do we just say they sob? Which one is correct? And if we were to choose the correct option, we will say by the end of the film, which was a modern day adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, half the audience was sobbing. The helping verb shows the action, or shows the action whether it is in the it shows whether it is in the present, the past, or the future tense. Ing shows the ongoing action, right? So we say was sobbing. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on verbs. We will continue with this lesson in our next when we meet again. So for now, thank you very much for joining the class. We spoke about irregular past tense. Irregular past tense does not follow any rules, so you're just gonna have to remember the irregular past tense form. And then when it comes to simple past, present, and future tense, then it's basically just future. It just shows our different tenses, whether it's in the present, the past, or in the future. And then we have progressive verb tense. Progressive verb tense shows ongoing action, whether it's in the past, in the present, or in the future. All right, so this is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much, grade 8s, for joining the class. And I really hope you're going to have a good evening further. Goodbye.